Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our new guest, Ray Lolacher. We're here to break down Fallen 2, Dragons Among Us, and everything in between. Ray, welcome to the show, man. It's nice to finally get you on.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time since issue 1, so I'm overdue, I guess, eh?
How's everything going up to the north, man? How's how's the weather? I know it's snowing right now, so you guys getting hit with any of that as well?
There's no snow. It's frigidly cold as usual.
He's like that's our normal.
That's normal here. Yeah, until we get into like June and July, and then it's like living in Hades. You know, it's hotter than hell here. So
yeah,
it's one or the other.
So Ray, before we dive into Fallen issue 2, let's I like to begin with the basics. So let's begin with who you are and how you got into creating comics.
Let's see. So I've always drawn like comic stuff. I've just been a comic nerd my entire life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I got into comics when I was more or less during the pandemic. I started getting, because I had more time to sit down and draw, right? So I started getting back into drawing quite a bit more often. Instead of like every few months, I was doing it like every week. And then it turns into every day. And then I decided, you know what, I started doing some sample pages of comic, like with panels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what, this isn't enough. I didn't like going off of a script that somebody else had already done. In other words, I just wanted to do something that hasn't been done.
So what about that? Did you not like? Was it just not having creative control of your art?
Well, it was like I felt like I was almost imitating somebody else's line work that's already drawn it out. So I was like, I need something original, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that hasn't been drawn before. And I had no luck finding that right off the bat. So I started working on Fallen, right? And then while I was working on that, I sort of tapped into the indie community a bit, because I started reading more about, getting your own comic made, right? And I met up with Matt Wilding. Excellent man. He's a great guy to work with and everything. And I did a couple small scripts for him, like short stories, and that really got my foot in the door with indie comics.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was good working with him. Since then, I've done a few other, short stories for other creators and that, and yeah.
So what were some of those other short stories that you worked on? Let's kind of like paint the way leading up to Fallen.
All right. I'm terrible remembering names. You know that? Oh no,
you're fine. You're fine.
I'm gonna have to look it up here. The other one was Justin. I'm gonna butcher his name right now. Justin Booten. He's the mechanic geek on Twitter. If you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent dude. Yeah. So I did a 10-page short story for him. Let's see, what else did I do with Coffee and Comics? Yeah. John? Yeah, so I did a cover for his comic, a variant cover. And is it Nobium Comics? I've just finished up another short story for an anthology he's putting out.
Well, that's awesome.
And yeah, I don't know. Kyle... I can't remember the name. I did a short story for him.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
So when you're working in those collaborative efforts, like, what's that experience like compared to when you're doing it by yourself? I mean, do you have any different ways that you approach it, or the way you get the job done?
So with my own work, I go right to the good draft. Like, so I'm on the Bristol board with my own stuff, because I already know how I got it mapped out in my brain, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just go ahead and start drawing circles and squares, right? Shapes.
Yeah.
And then when I'm working with a writer, I go through all the steps. So I do the roughs and the thumbs and and then I start doing panel layouts, and
Mm-hmm.
so I give them that. So because I don't want to be doing work 17 times over, so
Yeah.
I like getting stuff approved off the bat. Okay, how does this look? Looks good. Then I proceed to, a rough draft, and then finished pencils, and then inks, right? So yeah, it's just my process that I go through. I just like communicating a lot.
And what does that process look like? I noticed you mentioned using circles and squares. I mean, like how do you come up with your models?
I just draw.
I just let
I
it
don't
flow.
know how simpler to put it. It's just you just put it out on the paper, and it kind of just flows into the next. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you want each panel to kind of guide into the next, right? So it should be easy for the reader to follow along with the story. And I teach a workshop at the local art store in town where I teach kids how to do panel layouts. And
Oh, that's so awesome.
yeah, so I don't know, we're talking about doing an adult class along the way here yet too. So but yeah, it's been pretty wild working with the kids. They got some great imaginations.
Yeah, so maybe I should have rephrased that question. Like, what goes into like laying out your panels and such when you're doing it?
Like, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
Like
by
for the perspective of your panels, like what goes into creating that whole square for you? Like when I know you said you had some circles and squares, but like when you're working on your background, like what type of references are you pulling from, or is it all just like from your head?
Well, I kind of go off what the script says, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
the script is like, okay, sometimes they're very detailed, like right down to the nook and cranny of what they want on there. And then other scripts are more open, like more freedom to whatever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it all depends on what the words are on the paper. And then you kind of go off that. Sometimes I go off references, like especially if it's like a timepiece. So then you start Googling up images of like, I think it was the one story I worked with Matt Wilding on there. He wanted a train station from like the 1920s or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 1800s it was. And so I had to look up, okay, what did the trains look like back then? Because you don't want to have like some kind of streamlined, super train on there that is supposed to be in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
So, and stuff like, and it was the New York train station he had it situated into. So I was like, I have no idea what the new New York train station looks like, let alone what it looked like in the 1800s. So yeah, it basically goes off that. And then you kind of want to have it to, I like having it so that there's a good variety of different images on the page.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want it all to be like a far away shot or the whole thing of a close-up. You want to keep the page interesting. So that's kind of how I play it.
Because you're also outside of the writer and creator artist, you're an artist for hire as well. So I mean, where can if anyone's interested in hiring you, where can people look at acquiring your talents?
They could like go onto my portfolio on ArtStation or even my Twitter or Instagram page. I got more art posted on my Instagram page, obviously, because it's picture based, right? So, and my ArtStation is basically just my sequential pages and covers I've done.
So are you looking to do it all, or is there certain genres that are really like piquing your interest?
Lately I've been really getting into more horror comics.
Okay.
I'm kind of I got another one coming out this year. I'd like to put out anyway this year is called I Hate the Morning.
I think we all do.
But it's a play on words, right? So it's like mourning as if you're missing someone, right?
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
So that's what's my plan is. I'd like to put out a horror comic for sure.
No, that's awesome. So we were talking earlier as well. Do you do most of your art traditionally, or do you do some of it digitally as well?
So I think up until December, I finally got one of those tablets where you can draw on to the computer, because I'm pretty old school, right? I do most of my stuff on paper and I ink it traditionally. And now since I got this tablet, I've been starting to color the work as well. But yeah, like for the most part, it's drawn. I prefer to draw on the paper.
Why is it? Just because you're so used to it, or like, you know, what is it for you? You think that kind of steers you towards that?
I like seeing the whole page, and
I like
I
that.
can kind of reference other parts of it instead of
Mm-hmm.
being too zoomed in. Because like I can be like a couple inches away from the page with my face, and then I can pull it back quick, right,
Mm-hmm.
to see what I've just made a mistake on.
No, I get
and
that.
then you can kind of go back and forth like that. And I find with drawing like digitally, like I know there's a lot of like since I've started messing around with it a bit, there's some really cool things you can do with it, and it really simplifies a lot of stuff. It takes away the use of rulers a lot, which is nice because I hate
Mm-hmm.
using rulers. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still old school. I just love it. I like the pencil carving into the paper and all that good stuff.
So what's the beef with rulers?
Because I always break them. I sit on the damn thing.
Was not expected.
Well, I got two Pomeranians, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the one, it seems like every 10 minutes he's got to go out to the bathroom. It's like, oh. So I got to get up and I put my stuff down. Then I go let the dog out. And then I come back, and sure enough, there's a ruler under my butt. So,
And then you have to use a broken one. No, I get it.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and dive into Fallen issue 1 and 2. We're here to talk about Fallen issue 2, Dragons Among Us, but of course, let's set the pace a little bit with what happened in issue 1, and what type of comic is Fallen?
You know, I kind of wanted to make a comic that was different. I didn't want to do some traditional superhero comic. And I also didn't want to do like something that's been done before. So I really wanted something with all the elements of comics that was all in one sort of deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is like he is sort of a hero, Fallen, the main character. But he's also like, you know, he's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. He's just a regular guy that's been thrown into a mess, right? So, and you know, it just kind of crept up on him, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, how would you react if you were told you got some kind of weird powers, and you know, you got this stupid looking suit with horns on your head? How would you react, right? And I kind of thought, like, how would I react? I think I'd be like, yeah, right. No way. So that's basically what I went on with that, and then the horror is more or less the Dragon Queen coming in, which is almost fantasy as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's kind of a scary looking, you know, imposing character, and yeah, I think a lot of it was based on nightmares as well, right? So you know, you start having these visions, and you're not sure if it's a vision or if it's a nightmare, and how do you react to these sort of things. So it was basically a reaction comic.
I gotcha. So you are the writer, the line art, and the colorist. Can we give a shout out to the rest of the creative team involved?
Yeah, so Johnny, I'm gonna mess up his name because he's Finnish.
Good, because I was going to try to shout him out, but I was like, I do not know about that last name, so we're gonna let Ray take the wheel.
I'm just gonna say it's Johnny Hogg or Haig, either one. I think I'm getting close. He's the letterer of the comic, and like I said, he's Finnish, and he's also a writer in his own rights. He's coming up with a short story pretty quick here that he's working on. And it looks amazing, to be honest. It's crazy good. So yeah, you guys, if you aren't following Johnny yet, you got to get on that, because not only is he a fantastic letterer, he's a good writer as well. So yeah, check him out. And Arrows, the Nod, I'm gonna mess up his name again. So he's from South America, and Donardi. I don't know. He's from South America, and he did the color flats for this issue, and I was intrigued. I was looking for a person to do the color flats, and he popped up, and his stuff looked pretty legit, and Johnny actually said, well, he worked with him on a comic in the past, so he said that he was excellent to work with. So I'm like, oh, I'll go off your guys' words, because at the time, like, I don't even know what color flats were at the time. I was just I was looking for it in the summer to kind of speed up the process. So I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking for, so I'm just going to go off what everybody says. If that's good, it's good.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. I think right now would be a perfect segue. Let's go ahead and head over to the Kickstarter and pull up the campaign and see what we're here to talk about today. We're here to look at Fallen Issue 2, Dragon Among Us, an epic fantasy superhero comic about a man's fate forever altered after he gains dragon powers. Currently at $732 of a $1,270 goal, with 27 backers and 26 days left to go. 4 days into the campaign. I mean, you're already almost halfway through it. How are you feeling right now, Ray?
Actually, I'm surprised. It took me a lot of grueling digging last campaign. So, to be at this point, just a few days in, I'm like ecstatic. It was like, oh, cool, this is deadly, right? So I must have did something right first issue.
Yeah.
And got some returning fans. So, yeah, I'm out of this world happy with it. It's cool.
So you said our main character Fallen, he grows these horns. I mean, what was some of the inspiration for this character design? It looks so gruesome.
So the story is I made the character back in high school, and I don't know, I at the time he had like swords coming out of his head. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. They were like blades, right? And I had like a strap to hold the blades on so he could like impale people with these blades. And then I had little claws on his hands, like almost like miniature Wolverine ones. But yeah, so, and then over time I was like, why did I put blades on this guy's head? It looks stupid, right? So I was like, you know what looks dumber? Horns. So let's do it.
Sword seems like it'd be a lot more work as an artist too, right? Like you have to that'd be a lot of rulering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can kind of round out the horns, right? So that's basically how the design came up with that. And so when I designed the character, and then I came up with the story after. I know it's all backwards, but that's how I roll.
So let's check out some of these preview pages as well. And I love how dark and gritty it is, like right off the rip. We have, a bloody scene happening right here, and then boom. So like, what, is this our bad guy right here, I'm assuming?
No, that's the main character.
That's the main character. Oh my goodness.
So it's almost it's taken right off from the first issue, right? So it explains, so the first issue it's confusing, and it's meant to be confusing because I kind of wanted it to like a point of view, like his own perspective of what's happening, right? So, and I understand, some of the readers, they were like, oh, I don't know. I had the one reviewer, he was like, I don't know, it's kind of confusing, but I'm like, it's meant to be, because I want you to feel what he's feeling. So right off the bat, it kind of explains where he got his powers from.
Okay.
So if you remember in the first issue, it started out where he was dreaming, and he wakes up and there was the girl was impaled, right? So in this issue, it takes off where he woke up in his bed after that dream. So this is what happened before he went home and went to sleep that night. So, he was left in the alleyway and left for dead, and then wakes up and this happens.
And I just love how your paneling is and the layout is right here, especially in this corner, how you have him like getting impaled with his hand, and like he's kind of breaking like through like this panel right here and right here. Like, this is awesome. Like, what goes into your page layouts when you're creating them? Well,
I want it to flow, right? So, and like the way I do it is like the first panel there where he's on the ground, it's forcing your eye to the next panel, because he's in that direction, right? And then right off of that one, you're getting forced down to the middle panel there on panel 3 because his arm is, well, that's forced perspective, right? So you're getting forced right into that panel 3. And then the kind of graded kind of goes down like stairs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's basically how I wanted to just kind of have a nice flow to the page.
No, that is cool. I definitely love the layout. And this color palette is just gorgeous as well.
Yeah, it's a little. I wanted this issue really dark and gritty as well, because it's kind of like, okay, he realizes this is for real. It's not like a dream anymore. So, you know, he's deep in it, and the nightmares have become real.
Yeah, it looks like this character is dissolving like right in his hands. Like, you know, is it spoiler to talk about it, or like?
Well, you know, so it is a bit of a spoiler because, well, I mean, if you checked out the first issue, she dies, obviously, and she gets pulled up on the rooftop, and from there, you know, he actually kills her himself. And so he's devastated, obviously, because he didn't mean to. It just, you know, the snap of the fingers, and he was up there on the rooftop, basically, right? And so he doesn't understand his powers yet, and neither do we. So I'm still trying to keep it in the mystery stage where what is going on here, right? How come this is happening? So. Just like he doesn't understand what's happening, neither does the reader. So that's basically how I wanted to lay it out.
Yeah, some beautiful interiors right here
and
as well.
Actually, the page 3, if you can go up there, yeah, right there. Those are actually cameos, those guys in there.
Oh, really? From your first campaign?
Yeah, they bought the cameo tier.
Cool.
So yeah, the two gentlemen there, they're both cameos in the comics, so I thought I'd throw that out there for them.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
If you buy a cameo tier, you're gonna get put right in the mix of it. So you're not just the person standing in a crowd.
Right here too, things are about to get extra climatic at some point within issue 2 too. It looks.
Yeah, I wanted to, because it starts out kind of like a slow burn, the comic, and then it kind of picks up as it goes along. So like the pages without any dialogue on them, they are further into the comic, right? I just wanted to show that in the preview. Like, okay, it isn't just the entire thing is a slow burn there. It does pick up pace, so.
Yeah, and I love this fight sequence as well too. So he's fighting like another demonic like entity? Like, well, what's going on here?
Well, he's a dragon as well, right?
Okay, all right.
They're all dragons. There's no demons. No Satan worshiping. So this is Slick from the first issue. He was introduced right at the very end. So his old buddy Stanley from the plant turns out was a dragon watching over him. So
I love these designs too, especially the weapons. Like how his blade is like there's like notches in it, and then his is just like one solid red.
So the blade came up by chance, right? Because when he was introduced to the Dragon Queen in the first issue, she said like, "Take your weapon." It was just a random weapon. She had no, intention of him taking it. And it wasn't like didn't have its own power or anything. It was just a random weapon. The power comes from within him, as you can tell with his glowing eyes are the same as the sword, right?
It's awesome. And then we have some rewards. So real quick, guys, let's check out some of these tiers. Everything is going to be in Canadian, just to give you a real quick heads up, but the price for American is right underneath it as well. Be sure to check this out with us. Right here is the link, and as always, back, if you're able to, we would love to see it so we can get Fallen Issue 2 PDF at $6 Canadian or about $5 USD. You can get Fallen 1 and 2 PDF for about $9 Canadian or $7 USD. Awesome price for 2 comic books right there. You can get issue 2 physical for $12 Canadian or $9 USD. The local pickup. So give us a little bit about this tier.
Well, you know, the story takes place in the Queen City, which is my hometown, Regina. So there was a lot of local interest with the first issue.
Hmm.
So I thought I'd add in like some local ones, so you know they can pick them up from the cons
Oh, that's
or
cool.
the comic store or whatever in town. So
And get that personal experience, a chance to meet the creator.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's awesome. Are you also doing like signings, or is that like an extra charge or anything?
Oh no. If you want a comic sign, just let me know. I'll even ask maybe in a when I do the surveys if you'd like it signed. Because
Cool.
yeah,
No,
I
that's
don't charge anything extra for that.
yeah, that's fantastic. So a chance to meet him for just $12 Canadian. I mean, you can't beat that price. We have the Fallen Digital Full Flight for 15 Canadian. You get issues 1, 2. Fallen black and white process picks and 3 digital screensavers. You can get a copy of the variant for issue 2 at 15 Canadian. We have Fallen 1 and 2 physical editions for 22. So some outstanding prices right there as well. Make a Dream Come Dragon, or Come True Dragon for 25 Canadian. So you get a physical signed copy of Fallen 2 with a trading card and a sketch. Is the sketch going to be like anything they want or something from the series?
I do random sketches for them.
Okay.
So I mean, but it's not like you'd think for a sketch. You're getting a really nice picture, and it's like it's a small, like you know, like the side of a postcard sort of size for it, and it's penciled and inked.
Okay.
So you're getting actual authentic art. It's not like just some scribble on paper.
And just a whole bunch of awesome tiers as well, guys. Be sure to check out that link to hit it up. You can get a Fallen issue 2 Dragon t-shirt bundle for 60 Canadian as well. That'll get you a physical of issue 2, a t-shirt, trading card, the PDF, and the black and white process as well. And these shirts look just gorgeous too with the with cover A on them. So
yeah, it's got the badge on the front, and then the cover is on the back of them.
And then right here, this is the variant.
Yeah, that's the variant.
So who are we seeing right here holding this glass?
This is the Dragon Queen, the infamous Dragon Queen. Yeah, she's our villain in the comic, or so you think she's the villain anyway.
And then we have, of course, 3 prints to choose from, or you can get them all, and then some collectibles. Here
Yeah,
is a
those are
look
the
at
sketches that are going to be that'd be doing.
Oh yeah, no, these are pretty detailed. Holy crap!
Yeah, so it's not just the scribble; you're getting some nice artwork. I think it's decent.
Yeah, I mean, and especially for the price. I mean, like your own like physical artwork that's like a one and done. Like, I mean, that is an outstanding price. And these are gorgeous too.
I'm also doing commissions as well if people are interested.
So we have
so
a. Oh, go ahead.
You get 11 by 17 page, like ink, drawn and inked.
So
delivered to you.
We have the 100 for Canadian. You can get the cameo Star Dragon, so you can be in the next issue of issue 3, and then that commission he was talking about, the commission with the full spread for 200 Canadian. This is freaking gorgeous. Oh my goodness! Holy crap!
Yeah, so you'd get something similar to that. I mean, you get to pick what you want on it too, right? So
yeah, this is gorgeous. Holy crap! So some awesome tiers there. Ray, I got to ask, after going through that Kickstarter in its entirety, what would you like to say to anyone who might be on the fence about backing if you just had a few seconds to address them?
I honestly think you'd enjoy it. It's a 4-issue arc, so this is the 2nd edition, and I mean I've kept it pretty affordable because I know like a lot of people they question backing Kickstarters and that, right? Because well, it's cheaper to go to your comic shop, right? You can get a comic for anywhere from $5 to $10, right? So I'm keeping the price low, so people are more enticed to pick it up. This isn't a profit making opportunity. It's more to get just your work out there and get it seen, right? So, it's a cool story. Like I said, I got all the elements of my favorite comics in there. Like you got a little bit of superhero, some horror, some fantasy, and some mystery. So, you know, try something different. It should be cool.
That's awesome. And for everyone watching, right there is the link to check it out and make it happen today. Ray, what's next for you in 2023? Do you have any other projects like up your sleeve, or are you just working on Fallen for the rest of the year?
Well, like as I said, I'm also an artist for hire, so I'm working on a commission right now. I'm still open for more. Like I'm always open for commissions. Anybody got work, send them my way.
And once again,
split.
And once again, where's the best place for them to find if they're looking?
So my Twitter is Lolacher, and my Instagram is Ray Lolacher Art, and Facebook is the same. So and you can find my links for my art station on those too. So
awesome.
Yeah,
so
and so I'm also working on, like I said earlier, that horror comic. So I'm hoping I can get that released, or I'll run another Kickstarter, more than likely, for it in the summer or early fall. And then that's going to be called I Hate the Morning. It's a vampire horror story for anybody that's into that kind of stuff.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
I'm hoping to get the issue 3. I'll run a Kickstarter maybe November, December, something like that, later on the year. I want to keep them closer together. So
no, that's awesome. So Ray, before we let you go, I do have to ask you for a little bit of advice for anyone who might be new or even seasoned listening. And I think just listening earlier and hearing you talk about like panel layouts and the importance of like leading the reader's eyes, for anyone having trouble doing that, what would be your biggest piece of advice to help them?
You know what? I tell everybody, I sound like a broken record probably, but you just draw. Just keep drawing. I mean, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the progression of how do I do this, or how does the next panel, how is it going to look? It comes to you over time, and kind of just a progression of knowledge, and your hand-eye coordination gets better, and the retention memory with drawing, and it's, you just got to keep drawing. That's the best thing. And if you want to make a comic, just make a comic. You don't have to get an invitation. Pick up some paper, draw your own stuff. That's the best advice I can give anyone that wants to get into comic books.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. Practice makes perfect, right? And the more you do it, the better you're going to get, and the more ideas you know. I forgot what it was, but it was something like this person had to, they're trying to get better at writing, so they had to write like 100 poems. And sure, like a bunch of them weren't good, but a lot of them were, you know.
You're putting it out there, right? That's the whole thing. Like, I mean, it's like, you know, writers, they say the best way to write a story, get better at writing, is write short stories. Same as drawing a picture. Draw more pictures. Draw small ones, draw big ones. Whatever you like, but that's the best way to get better and advance in what you're doing.
Some awesome advice there. Thank you so much for swinging by, Ray. I had an awesome time chatting with you, man. We're definitely have to get you back on for Fallen 3 and for your I Hate Morning as well.
I do hate the morning. It's morning right now, and I'm out of coffee, so
I'm running low on coffee as well. So guys, with that being said, it is time for us to wrap up. I hope you all have a lovely, lovely day, but most importantly, keep it geekly.
Oh. Before we go, I got to give some shout outs.
Yes, let's reel it back.
Sorry, Cody, I interrupted your farewell. I want to give a shout out to Containment Breach. It's an excellent anthology that's running right now on Kickstarter, and some really awesome creators in there, and you're going to love it. Trust me, it's really good. It's an excellent group of stories and fantastic artwork in there. My next one, I want to give a shout out to Jason Farrow. He's working on a Kickstarter for The Convictor. If you like hard-hitting action with in-your-face punches, and you're going to love it. Lots of blood and a smiley face villain, so it's pretty cool. But other than that, hey, I'll let you take it away, Cody.
Yeah, not a problem. We actually had Containment Breach on, I want to say, like a couple shows ago, so it's small world there. And we're always about spreading that love, so what better place than to do it on this platform. So guys, with that being said, it is time for us to wrap up. Have one hell of a Saturday, but most importantly, keep it geekly.